Ladies and gentlemen, how you all doing? This is Connor.
This is Rangru. Hello, hello, hello.
And folks, going to that lovely forested map of Costa Tritza, who do we have today, sir?
Left hand side in blue, we have Paladin Lepa playing Trinity of Panzer. We have a Vanguard Income. Right hand side in red, we have Dain playing 6 South African Armored with a balanced income.
So, Dan, or I would say call, the Marie over here, perhaps is also a better way to put it. We're seeing the South African Armored. So we could make jokes about them grousing with their anti-tank tab, or kind of like having a hurricane rocking you in as they have that aircraft power over here, but kind of an interesting matchup when you think about it. It's Sherman spam, yes, but there's a good amount of air power behind this as well.
Yeah, I mean, kind of like what's it called? Our last cast we did with 2 Panzer divisions or tank divisions. It's nice to see just some tank-on-tank action. This is a bit better for both divisions. There's a bit more of an infantry-focused map, and both divisions do have a decent amount of infantry to call on here. So it should be interesting.
I gotta minorly disagree with you slightly, just on the fact that Paladin Lepa has literally half the amount of infantry that the Marie has. Just the fact. I mean, 47, and to be fair, 12 of them are Osttruppen.
He has a lot of slots, but he's going ballsy with no C phase and a lot of A phase infantry here, so
exactly.
He's gonna have to be careful. He might just get grinded out. This is a grindy map.
It's a very grindy map. I mean, unlike, I think, Tuesday, and honestly, folks, if you haven't watched that match, go back and watch it. This map isn't quite as friendly towards tanks across the map. This is a much more defined of, here's a fire lane, we know you're coming in here, you're going to probably find yourself being in this smoldering pit of wreckage before too much longer.
Yeah, and we're already seeing the rifles and Panzer Grenadiers engaging at it, really taking the first hit. So down south, we're seeing a little push for the Ardennes, so to speak. Some Panzer 4 and the 3 and some infantry trying to make a big flank here, which that's quite interesting. I like this quite a lot. The Recon Panzer and the Panzer 4 F1 complement each other well. And even if it does bugger up, it's not a huge point investment, so you can recover.
Well, and the Recon, there's the important part, isn't it? Yes, I mean, you gotta watch out for the Natal Scouts, but, okay, they have a Piat, you have Recon, and you have a ton of infantry actually moving to the northern side of that as well, so there's some opportunities here to do something really kind of creepy. I mean, from Paladin's perspective, from the Marie, you're like, oh yeah, cool, man, whatever. But we'll see how this plays out.
Yeah, and Paladin's done a pretty good job trading in the forest village, so to speak. Managing to do a lot of damage against the infantry in there, thanks to the Panzer 4. Doesn't have anything currently to follow up with it, as he's bringing in more of the, Panzer 3, Panzer 4, cheap tank spam, perfect first order map, and you just need cheap fire support. The other Shermans, if they do get in close, should be able to easily deal with him.
That is very, very true. And there are a rather motley assortment in this case. We see Sherman 5s, 2-ways. Heck, we see a couple of Fireflies over here as an opportunity. I'm looking forward to seeing the Grouse, just because, I mean, we're used to the M10 tank destroyers, but the Grouse, I want to say, is slightly more armored. Maybe I'm incorrect at that. I think it's the enclosed version. Maybe I'm completely wrong.
No, it's just an M10. It's Eugene
okay.
in their wisdom decided to give it off-map support. Not off-map, but indirect fire support. Because only the South Africans knew how to point the guns upwards.
Well, if you think about it, I suppose there's enough mountains over there. M4 goes down, sorry, P4 goes down to the Natal Scouts. So a donation, in terms of blood over here. Stern Pioneers apparently also deciding that, you know what, we know he just killed our friend, but that's fine. We'll give him a chance to kind of retreat there.
Mm-hmm. Sherman getting a good pick off. So, honestly, the Marie's done a decent job of holding down a southern cheeky play. Neither side's really playing too aggressive, and honestly that's more of a detriment to Lepa here, because he has that Vanguard income, and he needs to be, well, leading the Vanguard, so to speak.
Certainly should. I mean, kind of almost amusingly, we see. So, this is ironic, but at the same time, I think I really kind of like the fact that he could recover from this. Spitfire take out the Ju-87, but before he went down, the Ju-87 did have the pilot go unconscious. Now, you would think that would mean he would crash, but the Ju-87 is one of, I don't know if it was the first kind of aircraft, but had basically auto leveling. You could
It
set.
did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's so cool. Anyway, but yeah, please talk more about it. 'Cause I'm sure you're more well kind of knowledgeable about that than I. Go
No,
ahead.
I was gonna say you just like inflated your autopilot.
I just want you to know we're all counting on you.
Yes. That Baltimore's definitely gonna be counting the bombs he's gonna be dropping, because those infantry blob is gonna go down quite quickly here. Yeah, that's a lot of high explosives.
Ironically, most of them are dead in the first place.
No, they're dead.
That's true. That's true. And in some cases, when you just want to go and make a statement, you bring a Baltimore in. Having just been to Maryland, I can tell you that being to the city gives you about the same experience. On the western side, we are going to see Mortar Half-Track coming on, Inch-Drum Pioneers, P3s, a lot of troops coming to kind of replace their fallen comrades. But down south, P3 Recon, Half-Track, this small little group, able to kind of go and establish themselves by just picking on guys who can't really fight back. Not going to claim a lot of territory, and like you said, Paladin Lepa really needs to get on his horse.
Yeah, this is a good flank, but like you said, there's only one flag to take in. You can't really exploit it. Usually pushing heavy in the forest down south, unless you do something like bloody crazy and push all the way through, which you usually don't, because it's a forest and the supply roads are terrible. It usually just ends you getting bogged down. Really, I'd like to see Lepa maybe push a bit more heavily far up north. If you can push up to the square forest and then just play like hedgerows maze in that forest area, it can actually work out really well. Especially if you can get Panzer Grenadiers along that initial semicircle forest and just set up firing lines, you're good. You can just defend that easily.
This is true. There's a piece of me, though, that if you look down south, he's got a 45 mil that's been edge guarding the entire time. Basically an M42 that's been captured here. I find myself wondering how potentially effective it could be to sneak that guy in. See that northwest southeast road where the Shermans are on right about now? If he could sneak it in behind, first of all, he could get a couple of cheeky kills as troops are coming down that road and that intersection. That could be really, really interesting. Unfortunately, with the Shermans, the first shot took the P3 turret stuck, second shot killed the P3, third shot killed the half-track. So this 45 mil, he's going to get aggressive, but he's going to try to do it hitting the backs of guys, and I don't think that's a great plan. No,
yeah.
I don't like this very much.
Yeah, unfortunate timing, he didn't deploy the 45 mil in that initial engagement here, because he definitely could have got some good kills and maybe saved the Panzer III. And his scout unit is just going to spot the 45 and pretty much finish it off as the Shermans are already maneuvering to another location. So, yeah, Lepa's not doing too great in this initial A phase, and honestly, once it gets to B phase, it's all downhill, because the Marie gets the income advantage from that point onwards.
And the other thing we were talking about, like you said a little bit earlier, the P3 and the P4 play off each other very, very well. Unfortunately, a lot of the P3s have been dying, and a lot of those P3s that have been dying have been having the recon optics. So,
yeah, and there was only recon units.
Yeah.
Not terrible for this map if you just play in the forests down south and just, you just stick to good old infantry spam, but even then, he doesn't have a whole lot of CQC infantry. I mean, in B phase, he's got one Stern Pio and one Pioneer card. I know it's going to be very important in these forest fights.
And that's the weird thing, isn't it? Even if he had just taken slightly less veterancy on some of his A-phase cards, he probably could have at least upped a lot of his availability. I mean, even that much more. We are going to potentially see some small cheeky play, not from that air power, but the 45 mil did get that kill on a kind of an attacking infantry unit, and he might be able to get a second one here as another rifle squad comes through his line of fire. Unfortunately, he's cheating himself a little bit insofar as he doesn't have a whole lot of line of sight to shoot.
Yeah, you probably want to turn on. No, you want to keep the HC off just to only shoot vehicles and preferably tanks. When the village forest town moves up to Panzer III, it got blabbed. These two Shermans are just gonna prove to be a pain. Osttrooper are moving up, And yeah, the lack of anti-tank, and especially close-range anti-tank against Shermans, is really going to screw over Lepa now.
Frank, Oshipun are really good. They can just kind of make sure that suppression happens, take a really long time to kill. They're actually really, really good. Yeah, well, not when there's giant metal killy boxes.
Unfortunately, the armorer didn't give him Panzerfaust, and they might actually have a decent chance. I mean, a kid can use a Panzerfaust. I think an Osttrooper can.
You know what? I'm going to avoid making any further comments because that could be called racist. But yeah, you know what? You're right. Panzerfaust so simple that a kid could use it, and often did.
Mm-hmm.
The field engineers, in the meantime, coming down here to the south to kind of really shore up these lines, and the Marie does not seem willing to put up with the holy orders that are being given to all of Paladin Lepa's troops. Adding in the fact that we are going to see more than 114s on the map, and they have interesting targets, but, you know, effective enough targeting that it should be fine, and to actually get something done that's worthwhile, so not too bad overall.
Yeah, Lepa really needs to be playing better up north. He's got the Boita style in there, but it's going to do a great job of just zoning things out. There is a decent amount of 17-pounder weaponry on the Marie's deck, so it's not like it's going to be completely invincible, but you need to be playing to his strengths, more out in the open, zoning out, using machine gevers to beat out the Brens, but he's still trading pretty poorly in the center here and just taking a lot of casualties.
And he's not really concentrating his strength particularly well. So, I mean, for example, we're seeing 3 squads being moved to the north of Pioneers. We're seeing a recon P3 moved up right next to the Boita Stalin. If I'm bringing in infantry, PBI are, you know, kind of PBI in the first place, put something there to kind of support them. Put a tank far enough north so that way it's not a question of, hey, someday I'll be able to help you out. And it's, I know you're in here, I have a very aggressive move order for you. Let me make sure I can kind of show what's going on.
Yeah, Lepa's done a good job of clearing out the northern string forest, but now he really needs to make the next leap and get into the big forest area. And it's honestly, it's intimidating because it's just so much bloody forest. But for the most part, if you just get some mortars, smoke out the initial road to get to that initial flag position, and then once you get into that forest, you're like a parasite. You just infest your way through, and it just becomes an absolute pain to rout you out, because then your opponent is having to play Vietnam in this massive forest area trying to clear you out.
That is pretty accurate. I mean, without the Hanoi Hannah recordings, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you kind of hit the head pretty well on the nail. Try again, hit the nail pretty well on the head. The head well on the nail doesn't have the same kind of impact, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Now, we are going to see P-Gruns kind of be aggressive into this town, but 20th Panzer, we've talked about this for aeons here. When the only guy who cares about Panzerfaust is the officer, you know you're in trouble.
Yeah, you're gonna be a bit of a bad time, because even just these M3A1 half-tracks are providing tremendous fire support to both force 40 mils as well. Yeah, just a little bit of fire support from the Marines doing them runders, Baltimore as well. But he's holding this off. He's just holding it off.
So much bombing. Wow. Okay. Well, and then the artillery on map over here as well. We have the 114s, we have a 140. Very, very strange caliber to kind of be dealing with, but it is effective enough. You can see its talent, for lack of a better term, as all of these pushes are stymied, and the middle part of this map looks like the moon for about 500 meters on either side of the Germans. And on, well, the South Africans are like, hey, we may speak a weird, perverse version of German, but they're holding their own.
Mm-hmm. And it's just have to grind them out. I mean, we're getting closer and closer to sea phase, and it's when the tables really turn here. But look in the forest town, there's one Panzerschreck unit, which I'm actually surprised he hasn't been a little bit more aggressive with. Yeah, there you go. If he can use those Panzerschrecks effectively to knock out these Shermans, that can start straining the tide a little bit.
True. The question, we go up to the half-track first? No, he actually gets a Sherman. Very nice. Okay.
Good job. Micros, nice.
Waits for the reload. And the other Sherman books out of there. Good. Good. Nice seeing that on both sides here. Seeing, first of all, the Marie be very, very dynamic and responsive, but also to see that Paladin is still not without teeth. He's still able to kind of get a little bit of a chomper in.
Yeah, you just need to use those Panzerfaust. Probably even some more 45mm guns at close range. A bit more effectively. Oh, Marder now. A Marauder, not a Marder. The Flying Marder coming in. Gonna be getting some very good bombs hit on that town. Damn. There goes the town.
Dropping daisy cutters and J-dams, that has destroyed any hope of a push. Panzerschreck team is a delicate little meat base in that second one from the left. But, I'm trying to think about the counterplay for this. Like, what the heck do you do? What, maybe do a Ju-87 to kind of get like a cheeky bomb run or two? But you can't get rid of the anti-air over on the Marie side.
It's also just a lack of good CQC infantry from Lepa and anti-tank infantry. Because his infantry do good enough against the rifles and field engineer spam. Commonwealth infantry is kind of rubbish for the most part. But you just can't deal with any of the basic, even just very basic armored support like half-tracks. We're seeing a push up north, Pioneers pushing out, but great 17-pounder position, going to be putting pressure on the boy to Stalin, M10 Grouse as well, Grouse in array. He's going to be able to at least defend the northern side now, just that little fire support forest.
Yep, and the fact that you have two Vickers HMGs means that for some reason crossing over open ground is probably the quickest way to kind of have a nice eternal nap 6 feet under. But hey, the Boy Stalin gets pushed back. Stalinium is able to, let's say, push away that 17-pounder for right now, but I would not relish the chances for too much longer. We are going to see the mortar half-track engage. Love the responsive stuff here. So we are seeing, again, push and counter-push. Kind of feint and kind of parry with that. Great to see it.
Yeah, great use of artillery immediately, kills the 17-pounder, but it's just slowing him down, and Lepa is starting to run out of time. We get slowly and slowly closer to C phase, and he has been getting a plus run this entire time, to be fair, so he's not in a terrible position, but he does not feel like he has that momentum. That all-important, ethereal thing which we just keep on harping about over and over. Actually, if looking down south, he is actually gaining some momentum here.
But the, pound of flesh being what the pound of flesh is, it's still pricier over here for the 20th Panzer than it is for the 6th South African. When push comes to shove, I have 2 minutes, and then at that point, I can do an entire income tick and just bury you in infantry. I have more infantry in one call-in than you've had pretty much an entire phase. So.
Yeah, it's gonna, and also Paladin Lepa really needs to start a +2. Bro, he needed a +2 really 5 minutes ago, but unless he can get a +2, I mean, holding for 23 minutes against a balanced income as Vanguard, it's impossible. Usually once you get to the 25, 26 minute, it's when the income really starts to get felt.
That's certainly true. We are seeing the Boy to Stalin and the P3 trying to get shots on everything else across the gaff. But hey, fine. Kill my Sherman command tank. That's fine. I can bring in 3 more just like it. Kill my grouse.
So much artillery now. It's the 3 heavy guns in the back, the M10 Grouse is a Grouse in array, kills the mortar half-track. This is very bloody effective. Those Osttroopers are getting routed out because they're in very, concentrated positions. He's not doing good right now, Lepa. The artillery is just stopping him.
And that's, I think, how so many of these kind of more colonial divisions end up, theoretically playing, where it's like, hey, great, cool, fine. You're able to take on my vehicles one by one, but if I just kind of put up a nice little wall of firepower, what are you going to do about it? Now we are going to see motor rifles try to come on in to take out Shrem Pioneers. That's going to probably go about as well as you would expect. The motor rifles are probably going to ignite, as is their way. But we are 15 seconds out from the Marie just kind of saying, all right, troops go brr button.
Yeah. And many troops to go brr you will be able to get. And if you can just spam the town with all the rifles to actually make the push happen, you always got the fire support. He just needs the warm bodies to lead the way.
And he doesn't like super warm bodies. He just needs them to be warm enough.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
A damp body works.
That's true. That's true. Because the dampness needs to be on the inside, not the outside. Due to light down south, we have a P3 sitting in defilade. There's a Sherman too. Kind of thinking like, I sense that there's something amiss about this, and I think the P3 might get kind of tempted to redeploy. I don't know.
Gonna come down to the stabilizers again, can't I swear?
Oh, probably. Probably. A field engineer's gonna be sacrificed for the glory of corn.
Mm-hmm.
But despite putting blood on those corn flakes, I'm pretty sure P3 gonna move? No.
No, he's just chilling. He's a patient camper.
And you know what? That's totally fine. Makes perfect sense for us. In the meantime, though, anti-tank positions being taken out one by one. Infantry, support weapons like MG-42s being taken out one by one. We still have things like PaK-40s on the northern side of the map. And he does go and kill a Greyhound, so, I'm sorry, Tom Hanks, your help will not be needed for the rest of this match. It does open up the actual opportunity for Pioneers and Peagrens to move into that forest.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. I'm sorry, yes, please.
No, it's just a lot of artillery. It's a lot.
Yes, it certainly is. So unfortunately, we are seeing Pilot Sherman get killed by this P3 down south? No. Wow. Guys, I'm embarrassed for you.
Stabilizers.
For you.
I swear to God, Khan, this always comes down to the stabilizers. Even in static engagements, the stabilizers are like a kind of like a rosary. It will protect you against the German shot.
Yeah, I didn't know that praying to the God Emperor was going to actually protect you, but I suppose, oh man, never mind. I don't even want to go there. Suffice to say, we are seeing some motorized rifles being rushed to the northern side before that flag does get flipped. And oddly enough, despite the fact that we're into 2.5 minutes in, rifles going down south first. Okay. He wants to control the forest town before kind of really pushing anywhere else.
Yeah, that's a lot of dudes, and that's just the power of the C phase income, as we're going to be seeing. But still, Lepa does have that +1, so he still has the geographical defensive positions, and managing to aggress up north, like you said a little bit before, the Pioneers and Panzerfaust. Now, this could be a big play here for Lepa, because if he can just, once again, fan out his infantry in the forest, be a big pain, you can capture two extra flags, very easily, and then just hold him down with some Panzerfaust.
That is theoretically possible, that's true.
There's a Marauder.
Yes, and that was the other thing about this, is that you're going to see always that air power, and all the infantry that we just seen previously, anybody who manages to survive this is now a sergeant. Congratulations, you are all sergeants.
Yeah, have pretty heavy casualties, losing like half of his dudes. One of the Pioneers are definitely going to get surrendered here. So, great use of the clutch bomb and run, and look, we got rifles being brought in to try and plug his gap.
Now, of course, the only issue with rifles is that rifles only bring that to the front lines. We're not expecting to see something that much more skillful or deadly. It's just prayers, really.
Yeah. Here in the center, actually, it's kind of collapsed a little bit for the Marie. I mean, very good job for Lepa, keeping the Boita Stalin alive here. But there's the Panzerfaust got into a good position. I mean, Lepa's got that nice +2 because of that northern push, so it seems it's going to get shut down pretty quickly here. And there's still those two Command Shermans. One does
still
go
that one
down.
Command Sherman.
One Command Sherman here. It feels weird because Marie is... You need to get like a few good trades, and you can't afford the time because balanced income here. But it's still that +2. He needs territory.
He's flanking though. If you look further south, Flak 43 goes down. Sherman's moving in behind. He's going to go after the P3s here. And all the rifles, despite the fact that the rifles are not really who I want to bring to a gunfight, or knife fight, or really any kind of fight. Whoa, what just happened here?
Oh wow, Lepa won.
I think we had we had to be in a DC or
I don't
something.
know. I'm 50-50 on that, because with our view of the Fog of War, which is, yeah, it's none, we could see that Lepa was starting to collapse a bit, especially once you get to that 25 minutes in C phase, the income really starts to hurt you. There's really not many reinforcements left. But at the same time, I can also understand from Marie's perspective, there's still the pressure of the tick. There was that +2 towards the end game. The northern push, even though it just got shut down from the Rauders, they were still holding the geographical territory. Lepa just did enough to hold onto those flags with these very damp bodies. Just maybe just to intimidate the Marie enough to be like, okay, I don't think I can do it. Like, it's just that morale game. Or maybe a DC'd. Who knows?
True, true. But I think, you know what? I think you hit the right of it right there. Is the idea of saying, hey, you know what? Can I really do this? And if you've beaten your enemy in his mind, you don't need to actually beat him in body and soul, I suppose. With that in mind, taking a look over here at kills, you can see we're pretty much even in the first place. Bloomhoff, kind of armored by the Afrikaan spirit, and I'll let you dig into that as what you will.
The Boer War, right?
Exactly, armored by apartheid. The Sherman 5 doing very, very well for himself. In fact, Sherman 5 is really carrying a lot of this. Pretorius doing very well for himself. I legitimately thought that the M10s are going to be a little more aggressive, and actually, I kind of liked their standoff kind of approach. That was really great.
Yeah, just providing more suppressive fire support. Taking a look at losses here, one Pioneer SVT does good. Boy to Stalin does okay. There's really not that much to talk about on the losses side.
Well, I didn't even see the Marauder actually get taken out with the Flak 88. Well done there, Lubber. A true land lubber indeed that he's able to take out an airplane, but well done either way. So, Paladin, I'm not going to lie to you, man. I was worried, and I didn't think it was going to go your way, but you stuck it out. Well done, sir.
Yeah, good. If you got the morale victory, and congrats.
Absolutely.
You were getting close to breaking. Like, if that match went on another 5 minutes, this attrition would have screwed him.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And well, that was the thing, even from the beginning, to say 47 on one side, 96 infantry on the other side, and a quarter of those were Osttroppen. I didn't see that going well, but prove me wrong. Happy to see it. But all right, sir. Any final thoughts?
Nope.
Folks, in that case then, until next time, I'm Con Ulrich.
I'm Rangru. Take it easy.